Right now, the fate of a man who sexually assaulted a woman on the Oregon bike trail.
And later, a victim of a poison plot identifies herself to News 3 Now. Our Ellie La Liberté shares her story. Hello, everybody. It's Friday.
It's Friday.
We made it to the end of the week. Thanks for joining us today on Live at 4.
Yeah, it's a pretty nice end to the work week, but this weekend, that heat and humidity is returning. Meteorologist Blaze Keller has a look at our first warn forecast. Blaze?
That's right. We got a nice northwesterly breeze out there this afternoon. A little bit of cloud cover, but some peaks of sunshine here and there. A little bit cooler than yesterday. Dew points are dropping a little bit, but it is still a bit humid at sometimes, but overall much more tolerable than, say, yesterday, as temperatures sit in those 70s. Still holding on to the 90s, though, in Kenosha. It's 76 in Bosco Bell, as well as in Madison, 77 in Lone Rock, 78 in Monroe, there, and 82 in Janesville. As we look ahead to the weekend, the heat and humidity, as Brady mentioned, does return. Upper 80s to low 90s both Saturday and Sunday. Southerly winds both days are going to keep those temperatures on the warm side. Could be dealing with some fog Saturday morning, and then Sunday late afternoon, early evening, we could be dealing with yet another round of severe weather. A marginal and slight risk in the green, and then the slight risk there in the yellow. So an isolated to scattered chance for severe weather once again as we go into your Sunday evening. Looks to be about the start time. We're going to go into more detail about what we can expect come Sunday evening, but until then, enjoy the nice quiet conditions and plan to get outside on this nice afternoon. Saturday is looking pretty nice as well. We'll talk about a couple more rain chances after Sunday in the full forecast as well.
All right, Blaze, thank you. The man who sexually assaulted a woman on the Oregon bike trail 2 years ago will spend the next 17 years in prison.
A judge sentenced Richard Cunningham Jr. today. Cunningham Jr. pleaded guilty in March to second-degree sexual assault in exchange for other charges being dropped, and those include strangulation and felony bail jumping. Those charges stemmed from an attack in March of 2023. Cunningham tackled and strangled a woman walking on the Oregon Rotary bike trail. At the time of the assault, Cunningham was out on bail as part of a plea deal in a sexual assault from 2021. He was sentenced to 20 years for that incident. Cunningham will then serve his sentence in the Oregon case. After, he'll have 15 years of extended supervision.
Now, if you have experienced or are experiencing sexual violence and you need to speak with someone, this is the helpline for the Dane County Sexual Violence Resource Center. You can also call the National Sexual Assault Hotline at the number on the bottom of your screen.
The person suspected of shooting 2 Milwaukee police officers last night is now in custody. Officers arrested Tremaine Jones just after 2 in the morning. He's suspected of shooting 2 officers who were responding to reports of shots fired. One of the officers, a 32-year-old, is in critical condition. The other, a 29-year-old, is expected to live. As the investigation into what happened continues today, neighbors are expressing fear and frustration.
As soon as we got in the house, it was shots. We had to get all of the kids down. It was like a big pop, like a wow. And then when I got the kids down, it was a bow, 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 boom.
Pissed off. My sister's a retired police officer, so I have a high esteem for police officers. So pissed off.
The shooting is being called an ambush. Police say charges will be presented to the Milwaukee DA against the suspect in the coming days.
Madison police are investigating a burglary on the city's south side. Just before 10 last night, a woman reported that someone broke into her home on Lake Point Drive. She was not home at the time of the break-in, but whoever broke in stole cash and a backpack from the woman. Anyone with information about this burglary should call Madison area Crime Stoppers.
A person is hurt after a car hit them this morning in Middleton. At about 8 o'clock, police officers responded to a car versus person crash at the intersection of North High Point Road and Cobblestone Circle. Middleton police have not provided information on the victim's condition. They're asking anyone with information on the crash or who saw anything in the area to call them at 608-824-7300.
Right now, 3 families lost their homes after a fire last night in Springdale. The flames damaged the entire building.
Our Tanisha Shaw talked with a business owner who saw what happened.
So that might be one thing that impacts business today is the smoke.
John Corey is a manager at Mount Vernon Tap in the town of Springdale. Flames interrupted his Thursday evening after a fire destroyed an apartment building just steps away from his bar.
I was outside watching, and then some of my employees went in and knocked on the doors and got everybody out.
Some of the people that got out of the building are Corey's former employees. This fire left 3 families displaced, and he mentioned that one of the families recently had a baby.
I was really shocked and hoping that it wouldn't turn the way that it did, with complete loss of the building.
More than 12 hours later, smoke is still coming from the building. I spoke to Dane County Sheriff's Department, who said this building is a total loss with damages worth more than $352,000. Mount Horeb firefighter Jackson Bush arrived at the scene Thursday, and as a rookie firefighter, this was one of the toughest scenes he had to respond to.
It was one of the bigger fires, and the fire was able to move pretty quickly throughout the building, with it being that old and that type of construction.
I'll have more on the damage left behind tonight at 5. Reporting in Mount Vernon, Tanasia Shaw, News 3 Now.
Thank you, Tanasia. The Dane County Sheriff's Office says the cause of the fire is not suspicious.
President Trump announced today that he has terminated all trade talks with Canada. The president posted on Truth Social that Canada had planned to put a tax on U.S. technology companies, which the president called a blatant attack. Canada is the second largest U.S. trading partner. Currently, the U.S. has a tariff of 25% applied to goods that are imported from Canada. On Wall Street, stocks remain resilient. The Dow ended the work week up 432 points. The Nasdaq is up 106 and the S&P 500 closed up 32 points.
President Trump says he is not ruling out bombing Iran's nuclear sites again. Lawmakers disagree about the extent of the damage the strikes did to the country's nuclear program. The White House maintains the strikes obliterated the program, but hasn't provided evidence to prove that. Initial reports show the strikes only set it back by months.
Taking a live look now at Capitol Hill, where Republican senators are trying to save the president's spending and tax cut bill. We've just learned senators will begin voting on it tomorrow. The president had previously set a date to have the bill on his desk by the 4th of July. Today, he said that isn't an end-all deadline.
Maryland parents can now opt their children out of school lessons that include books with themes related to the LGBTQ+ community. In a 6-3 ruling along ideological lines, the justices ruled in favor of religious parents in suburban D.C. They reversed lower court rulings in favor of the Montgomery County school system, which required elementary school kids to sit through lessons even if their parents had religious objections.
Well, coming up on Live at 4, lawmakers here in Madison continue to push a meeting on the state budget back.
What we know about where things stand and when a proposal could come to the floor.
Well, Wisconsin lawmakers are pushing right up to the deadline to get the state budget passed.
But after hours of closed-door debate, lawmakers are still nowhere to be found. Political reporter Will Keneally is at the Capitol with more on what's going on. Will?
Hey, Susan and Brady. So we're outside this hearing room where you normally see lawmakers debating the state budget right there. But they have taken the last 6 hours to meet behind closed doors. I like to think of it as, you know, it's that Sunday night where you're trying to finish up your homework, cramming a ton in before the homework's due on Monday. That's kind of where lawmakers are right now. They're doing a lot on their agenda today to finish up that state budget by the June 30th deadline. Now, again, Wisconsin's not one of those states where if we hit that deadline, Wisconsin shuts down. No, the state government does continue kind of at that status quo funding. That former budget carries over. But we're expecting a lot of fireworks later today. Things like child care funding, the Universities of Wisconsin system, all of that is part of that crammed in docket that they have heading into this weekend. Now, again, they've been delaying this kind of throughout the day here. This was scheduled initially at 10. We just heard a few minutes ago that they are tentatively scheduling this for 5. But again, lawmakers are kind of battling this out behind closed doors. So we could see this happen at 5, but we could see this happen later into the night here. And again, a late night, a lot of work ahead for these lawmakers. And we'll continue to keep you updated throughout the night here. But for now, reporting from the state capitol, Will Keneally, News 3 Now.
All right, Will, we'll sit tight and wait until it happens. Thank you so much. Will Keneally live at the Capitol. And joining us now with some analysis is political analyst Brandon Scholes, who was also at the Capitol at 10 o'clock this morning for that hearing that never happened.
Yeah. Hey, Brandon, thanks for being on with us.
Nice to see y'all.
Yeah, what's the holdup here?
How long you got?
The whole show.
The whole show. It's a couple of things. One, this is a big budget. We're talking $100 billion. And so both sides have to come to an agreement, because while Republicans will pass the budget, both in joint finance and in the Assembly and the Senate, the governor has to sign or veto it. So I think both parties would like to see a budget that they can have some agreement to, so it doesn't drag out. Because arguably the deadline is June 30th, and we'll get to what that means. So it's money, that's big, and it's partisan politics. And we always see these fights during the budget and in joint finance. This one, I think part of the delay is they've actually been trying to negotiate, trying to get together. You know, the Assembly Republicans and Senate Republicans have been meeting with Governor Evers for the last few weeks. They didn't meet in joint finance. So they were trying to negotiate, and they got to a point where Republicans couldn't get what the governor wanted. The governor gave them something, it kind of broke down. But the good thing is, and even though it's a delay, they're still talking. So as Will was mentioning, Senate Republicans and Assembly Republicans today were meeting with Senate Democrats. Now, in my however many decades of years in the Capitol, I haven't heard of those meetings happening, if they've even happened very often, because Republicans are trying to get some Democrat votes, because they have two members in the Senate who said, no way, I'm not voting for this. Senator Kapanka, Senator Nass, they both have their reasons. So Senate Republicans have to get some votes from the Democrats, which means they're going to have to give something, and Assembly Republicans are going to have to agree to that as well. So that's what's taken the day today. As Will mentioned, probably 6 hours are going to go to that. If they get an agreement on some of this stuff, that's when this page of all these 55 items that are to be considered today will come up. And this is heavy lifting stuff. It's University of Wisconsin. It's the DNR. It's Department of Transportation. Health Services, which we've talked about, which is $42 billion. That's the big thing. Children and families. So there's a ton of stuff on this list, and this isn't the end. There's still more that comes after this. So where do we go from here?
Yeah, and what do the lawmakers have to do to get this done?
So first of all, joint finance needs to finish its work on the budget and have a vote sending the budget out of joint finance to the houses. So I would say next week is a good hope that that joint finance will finish its work. They're going to come in at, as Will said, at 5. Maybe they go till 10, 11, 12 o'clock at night. Maybe they stay and work tomorrow on a Saturday. You know, we haven't seen that kind of time. From there, they're still going to have to meet next week, and they're still going to have to hash out a few more things on the budget. The hope is that they get that done. Then you have to get into some procedural stuff. The Fiscal Bureau, the folks that figure all this out, have to rewrite the bill. They take all the stuff the governor had and what joint finance changed and come up with a new bill. And that first goes to the Assembly, and the Assembly will take a day or two to debate it and vote. Then they'll send it over to the Senate. They'll take a day or two to debate it and vote. And then after that goes the governor for his signature or veto. And if he vetoes it, you know, it's kind of perfunctory. They can't override. So I think it's fair to say that you could see the latest mid-July when we have it all signed and said and done. And that's not a bad thing, because in Wisconsin, unlike the federal government, if the deadline comes, you run out of money, you shut down. That's it. In Wisconsin, that doesn't happen. June 30th is our deadline. We go on after June 30th as a cost to continue. So that's kind of where that whole thing's, we don't have to really worry about the deadline, because the money's there. We'll be spending, agencies will be spending what they spent in the last budget. So that's how that kind of works. But there's a lot of things that are going on that they're trying to negotiate, you know, and nobody wants to shut anybody off. I mean, they want to have plenty of debate. They want to say, okay, we talked about all this. But I think Republicans are trying to find votes to make sure they could pass this. They have to come to some agreement with the Democrats on some of the programs that Governor Evers has talked about. I think, like Will mentioned, so we have the UW system, you have healthcare, you have education. So those sorts of things are what they're hashing out right now. And, you know, hey,
at least they're talking, like you said.
They're talking, and it's a good thing, and it takes time. You don't necessarily have to rush it. Probably frustrates a lot of people, but it is what it is.
It is what it is. All right. We'll keep an eye on it. Thank you, Brandon.
Thank you, Brandon. Great to see you.
Nice to see you.
And Blaze Keller's been keeping an eye on our weather. Here is a look at our first warn forecast. Blaze?
It's going to be a quiet evening. Some fog may develop as we head into the early morning hours on Saturday. And the reason is because above the surface, warmer air is moving on in. So the surface air can't continue to lift throughout the atmosphere. And that warmer air means a hot and humid weekend. Both Saturday and Sunday, we already took a look at it. Upper 80s to low 90s. And we could even see some severe weather as we look to end Sunday going into next Monday. We find a slight risk in the yellow there. In the green for most of our coverage area, that's a marginal risk. So in terms of number of severe thunderstorms that may impact us, we're looking at an isolated threat in the green and more of that scatter chance for folks in the yellow, which includes the Dells, Camp Douglas, back into Viroqua, everybody else, an isolated chance. Probably going to be more wind and hail along with some heavy rain as a low pressure system will move through parts of the Midwest as we go into Sunday. But because we're going to be so hot, we have to wait for either those temperatures to cool or we have to just essentially keep warming up to get these showers and thunderstorms to develop. So it looks like we'll probably lean more to waiting for those temperatures to cool as we look to end Sunday going overnight into Monday. That's when we'll have that chance for those showers and thunderstorms, some of which may be severe and could linger into the morning hours on Monday, but then we look to quiet down for the start of our next work week. As I mentioned, strong winds and hail are going to be our greatest threats, but heavy rain continues to be in the forecast. Anybody there in the blue is looking at least a half an inch of rain to an inch of rain. Folks towards Baraboo, Camp Douglas, up towards La Crosse, places that have continued to be hit by heavy rain showers and thunderstorms, could be looking at an additional 1.5 inches to isolated spots of 2 inches of rain over the next 7 days. Now for the Madison area specifically, from the start of the month through yesterday's date, we have picked up nearly 5.5 inches of rain, surpassing our average for the month of just over 4 inches of rain. So Madison specifically, we don't need any more, but we'll likely see some rain as we go Sunday into Monday. But if we look at the rest of the state from the start of the month through yesterday's date, a lot of green, which is some good news. We're getting more rain than what we actually need. But up there in extreme northern parts of Wisconsin and especially across eastern portions of the state, we're still missing 1 inch to 2 inches of that beneficial rain. So the rain is continuing to fall at places that really don't need it, and it's not falling in places that do, unfortunately. But we will start to dry out as we go into the start of next week and the days leading up to the 4th of July, low to mid 80s. At least for now, it's looking like we may be drier on the 4th of July. We'll still keep a little chance for a shower, a thunderstorm, but I think the best chance is going to be actually the evening Friday going into Saturday of next week.
All right, thank you, Blaze. Dane County's 1st District has a new supervisor. Colin Baruchak was sworn in as the new District 1 supervisor on the Dane County Board. It follows his victory in the June 17th special election. Baruchak succeeds former supervisor Elizabeth Doyle, who resigned in March. Doyle said she had to leave her post because she could no longer afford to live in the district. Affordable housing is one of the main issues that Baruchak says he hopes to address.
Right now, young people graduating from college are facing one of the toughest job markets in more than a decade. The unemployment rate for people ages 22 to 27 with a degree is at its highest level in a dozen years, excluding the pandemic. At this point, the rate for unemployment among that group is higher than the overall unemployment rate. In our next half hour, a key decision from the state Supreme Court today.
And we'll tell you what we know about one of the victims of an alleged poison plot. That's when Live at 4 continues.
Three, two, one.
It's Friday! You and I are excited. Come on, Blaze. We didn't hear.
Yeah, there we go. Well, everybody's working for the weekend in the 608 today.
Josh Spreiter is here now with his 3 things that you and your family can do this weekend.
This is the last weekend of June, and our summer lineup of fun events for the whole family continues in the 608. It is time to celebrate the summer season at Woolersheim Winery. The Summer Serenade Series is officially underway. Tonight is your next opportunity to enjoy the beauty of the summer while sipping a beverage outside, taking in the views. They have extended hours planned until 8 o'clock on these summer Fridays, where you can enjoy wine, cocktails, food, and live music with no reservation needed. The next Summer Serenades is planned for Friday, July 25th. Happening Saturday from 11 to 2, there's a Farm Fresh celebration at Sassy Cow Creamery in Columbus. They're serving up scoops, smiles, and some serious summer fun with a hands-on petting zoo, a variety of delicious eats, freshly made ice cream, games, activities, and fun for the whole family. And hey, it's all for a good cause. This event supports Second Harvest Food Bank's Adopt a Dairy Cow program. And finally, it's going to be a big weekend for Camp Randall as Morgan Wallen comes to Wisconsin on his tour. This is happening both Saturday and Sunday nights. Lots of local businesses are hosting specials in downtown Madison, especially in the Regent Street area. So here's your chance to support local during this time. Even if you don't have tickets to get inside, you can still be part of the fun. You can find more happenings this weekend in the 608 by going to channel3000.com. In the 608, Josh Breiter, News 3 Now.
Thank you, Josh. Coming up on Live at 4, Blaze has your weekend forecast.
Plus, what the state Supreme Court decided about UW nurses' right to collectively bargain.
You're watching News 3 Now, live at 4, moving forward.
Happy Friday, everybody. Thanks for sticking with us today on Live at 4.
And wasn't it nice walking outside? It didn't feel like someone put a bag over you.
Yes, it did.
It's a little more comfortable today, but our weather words, a hot and humid weekend ahead. Let's check in with meteorologist Blaze Keller out on our patio. Blaze?
That's right. It's going to be hot and humid as temperatures climb back into those upper 80s to low 90s on Saturday and Sunday. Southerly winds both days and a little bit of sunshine on Saturday, maybe more cloud cover on Sunday because we could see some showers and thunderstorms to end Sunday before we kick off next week. Also could be dealing with some morning fog on Saturday as that warmer air moves in overnight so that we can climb into those warm temperatures on Saturday. Speaking of Sunday, there's that marginal and slight risk, so in the green marginal, in the yellow slight, or an isolated chance for a severe thunderstorm in the green, to a more scattered chance for severe weather on Sunday there in the yellow. We're looking at strong winds and hail as the main threats, along with some heavy rain as we end the weekend and kick off next week. In the meantime, mostly clear conditions tonight, right around where we should be for this time of year, upper 50s to low 60s with a light northwesterly wind. What do our temperatures look like in the days leading up to the 4th of July? We'll take a look at that coming up in just a few minutes.
Thank you, Blaze. The Marquette County Sheriff's Office is investigating after a deadly crash in Packwaukee. At about 6 this morning, deputies responded to a report of a car versus person crash. That person died at the scene. The sheriff says the driver of the car is cooperating with the ongoing investigation. Out of respect for the family, the sheriff's office is not releasing the victim's name. They have said that we'll have more information when it becomes available.
Next week, the man and woman suspected of plotting to kill 2 women in a poison plot will both appear in court. Paul Van Dyne will be in court in Rock County for multiple charges of attempted homicide, and Andrea Whitaker will be in court in Dane County for 2 attempted homicide charges and 1 for harboring and aiding a felon. Those charges are linked to multiple hazmat investigations in the Madison area earlier this month.
Van Dyne and Whitaker are accused of using various chemicals, including cyanide and thallium, to poison the women.
And as our Ellie La Liberté shows us, the severity of that poison put a Rock County woman in the hospital.
By some miracle, I am alive. That's a statement 26-year-old Amanda Bade shared with me. Bade has identified herself as the Rock County victim in this case. She told me she can't comment on what happened due to the ongoing investigation, but says she spent 38 consecutive days in the hospital, paralyzed and losing her hair. A criminal complaint alleges Paul Van Dyne and Andrea Whitaker stalked and tried 3 times to kill her, using cyanide in her water bottle and hydrogen sulfide and Abrin in her car vents on separate occasions. I spoke with a toxicologist from Wisconsin Poison Control about the severity of chemicals like cyanide.
The dose makes the poison is always the saying. So If you get exposed to enough of it, it can cause cardiovascular collapse, multi-system organ failure, and death.
And tonight at 6, I'll break down just how dangerous all the chemicals discovered in this case are.
Thank you, Ellie. We will see you at 6. And we've been following this story since the hazmat investigations began and will continue to provide updates. Follow along with the free Channel 3000 mobile app.
UW Health is not required to collectively bargain with its nurses.
That decision was reached today by the Wisconsin Supreme Court. Our Kyle Pozorski reports on reactions to the ruling.
It was a unanimous decision. The state's highest court saying the University of Wisconsin Hospitals and Clinics Authority is not required to collectively bargain with union members. The Wisconsin Employee Relations Commission successfully arguing to the court that the Hospitals and Clinics Authority is not required due to Act 10. That 2011 law removing any reference to the authority's requirement to bargain. Justice Brian Hagendorn writing for the court, quote, "When we examine the statutory language along with the statutory history, we conclude that Act 10 ended the collective bargaining requirements formerly placed on the authority." Mary Jorgensen, a 20-year nurse at UW Hospital and a member of the union SCIU, says she is disappointed.
It's been a very long battle. We've been thrown a lot of punches, but we're still here. And our goal is to still get our union recognized and collective bargaining rights.
WERC does not publicly comment on litigation matters. In Madison, Kyle Pozorski, News 3 Now.
Thank you, Kyle. And in a statement to channel3000.com, UW Health said it, quote, appreciates the court's deliberate, diligent, and final review.
The president's authority is expanding. In a 6-3 decision split along ideological lines, the U.S. Supreme Court ruled lower courts' rulings that pause the president's policies cannot be imposed across the nation. The question came before the court because of a lower court's ruling in which a judge said President Trump's order to end birthright citizenship violated the Constitution. But the justices did not address birthright citizenship head-on, leaving the future of that unclear.
The bottom line is that there are still many open pathways to block President Trump's illegal and unconstitutional birthright citizenship order and ensure that all babies born in the U.S. are equal citizens.
We're very confident in the Supreme Court, but again, it's pending litigation, and that will directly be determined in October, but it indirectly impacts every case in this country.
Despite those comments from the Attorney General, there is no active case on birthright citizenship before the Supreme Court. Cases are rarely decided in October, which is the start of the court's term.
Well, still to come on Live at 4, a couple of very popular series are starting new seasons, and they're streaming this weekend.
Will Loper shows us in the Loper Report when we're back. Three popular series are returning this weekend on streaming platforms.
Film critic Will Loper is here to help you plan your weekend.
The clock is telling you how much money we have left. When that shows 0, this restaurant needs to cease operations.
Head back to the kitchen with season 4 of The Bear, newly streaming on Hulu.
It's hard and it's brutal, and that's what makes it special. I'm fired up, ready to go. I'm saying.
Showtime! Catch back up with Carmi, Sydney, and the rest of the restaurant staff as they continue to strive for culinary greatness.
Baby. You are never alone.
Fire isn't just an element. Fire is an organism.
Uncover secrets with the series Smoke, newly streaming on Apple TV+.
I've been told to have 2 serial arsonists working this area. No significant leads on either.
An arsonist investigator teams up with a police detective to search for suspects starting fires.
You need to get somebody quick before one of them kills again.
Tech is the future. Riri, you can actually help people.
I know.
And check out a new superhero series with Ironheart, newly streaming on Disney+.
What would you say if someone were to create AI using brain scanning technology? Oh my God, I'm literally perfection.
I would say only an idiot with a death wish would try that.
The series follows Riri Williams, played by Dominique Thorne, as she invents the most advanced suit since Iron Man.
Might be a hero in there after all.
For Live at 4, I'm Will Loper.
I'm in. They all look good.
Yeah, you'll be watching The Bear, right?
I love The Bear.
Oh.
I'm looking forward to the new season. I need a rainy weekend so I can catch up on it.
Yeah, it's too nice out.
It is. Well, coming up on Live at 4, our Badger Beat reporter takes us to UW's annual Pride Picnic.
And later, Arman Rahman introduces us to a Madison barber in the national spotlight.
Well, Pride Month is in full swing at UW-Madison, and students are coming together to celebrate identity, creativity, and community.
Kayla Dembeck shows us how the annual Pride Picnic is bringing people together and why events like this matter.
UW-Madison is marking Pride Month with its annual Pride Picnic, a vibrant celebration of love, identity, and community. The event brings together students, staff, and community members for an afternoon of food, art, and connection. But it's more than just a picnic. It's a space for LGBTQ+ students to feel seen, supported, and celebrated. Organizers say events like this are about building belonging, making sure every student knows there's a place for them here. And judging by the turnout, the message is clear. Pride is alive and well at UW-Madison. To learn more about the Pride Picnic, check out the Badger Beat by searching Badger_Beat on TikTok and Instagram.
Kayla, thank you. Grammy-nominated country artist Morgan Wallen is coming to Camp Randall tomorrow and Sunday.
It's going to be a busy time over there. He'll put on the venue's first concert in 28 years. Crews started working earlier this week to transform Camp Randall into a concert venue. Local law enforcement is preparing for big traffic impacts. UW-Madison Police is planning for road closures in the area and expect road congestion to be similar to a Badger football game.
Street closures include sections of North Randall Avenue, North Breeze Terrace, Monroe Street, and Regent Street. For more specific details on road closures, visit channel3000.com.
It will be short sleeve weather for those concert goers. I hope they bring plenty of water, Blaze.
That's right, because it is going to be a hot and humid weekend after a very pleasant evening with some fog developing by the morning hours on Saturday. That's because warmer air is moving on in above the surface, and that's going to lead to those hot temperatures on both Saturday and Sunday. Sunday, we could once again be dealing with another round of severe weather. We're looking at a marginal and slight risk across central and southern Wisconsin, so an isolated threat in the marginal risk here in the green to a more scattered chance for showers as well as severe thunderstorms there in the yellow, which is the slight risk. So Viroqua, the Dells, Camp Douglas, La Crosse, you're in that scattered or slight risk, whereas folks in the green, Madison, Watertown, Platteville, Monroe, you get the picture there. You're underneath that marginal risk or an isolated chance for severe weather. Because we're going to be warm this weekend, to say the least, we have a whole beyond the barometer about why it's sometimes not hot enough for storms to develop during the daytime. And that's what's going to really be at play on Sunday. It's simply going to be too cool for those storms to develop during the daytime hours. So we have to wait until those temperatures start to cool that we start to get the shower and thunderstorm activity, mainly as we go into the late afternoon, early evening start time overnight into early Monday. During these really, really hot days, temperatures have to be even hotter for the air at the surface to rise. So that's the reason why we usually wait until those temperatures start to cool off a little bit, that the warm air at the surface can then rise, forming showers and thunderstorms. Speaking of hot temperatures this weekend, it has been a very interesting month for the Madison area in terms of daily temperatures compared to normal. We had a handful of cooler than normal days and warmer than normal days for about the first, I would say, 2 weeks. And then starting from the 19th through yesterday, we've had consistently warmer than average days. And the difference on these warmer than average days is outweighing the cooler than average difference days. So we're seeing 15 plus degrees warmer than average compared to about a degree or half a degree cooler than average. That's the reason why our average temperature right now is about 3 degrees warmer than where it should be for this time in the month at 70.5 degrees. And those warmer than average temperatures look to continue through at least your 4th of July weekend. And then that following Monday will be slightly cooler than average by about a degree or 2. Our average high should be right around 81 degrees. Now let's look at the state as a whole. We're looking at most of northern Wisconsin near average, with even a pocket of cooler than average temperatures there in far northern parts of the state, but everybody else is ranging from about a degree to 4 degrees above average for our average temperature from the start of the month through yesterday's date. So it does look like likely most of Wisconsin, especially the Madison area, is going to finish the month warmer than average. There's a look at our temperatures over the next 7 to 10 days, low 80s starting on Monday through your 4th of July weekend. And I'm going to keep asking Mother Nature to reduce the rain chances on the 4th of July, but at least for now, we're going to keep about a 30% chance. But it is trending that maybe we stay dry with the rain moving in overnight Friday into your 4th of July weekend.
In today's Feel Good Friday, a new local barber in Madison has just been recognized on the world stage.
It's pretty cool. Armand Rahman has more on how Headquarters Madison made the cut.
Yet another Grammy winner is headquartered in Madison, but it's not the type of Grammy you may be thinking.
I mean, it sounds funny, you know, it's the Barber Grammys, but it's an international award.
Ryan Connor, or RJ as he's more commonly known, has just been crowned the best rookie barber in the world at an international expo in Connecticut. The local barber went to La Follette High School and opened up his shop Headquarters on the east side just last year. He says it's been a year of hard work that doesn't cultivate in the award, but how his barber's cuts serve men in the community.
You never know what you're doing for that person. You never know what they have coming up. You know, they might be just getting normal maintenance, or they might be getting ready for their first big job interview. To be a barber, all you need is a station and a chair, right? But we really invested into our space, and we made it somewhere that's very welcoming for anybody.
RJ went up against barbers from Chicago, Philly, and even Venezuela for the award. I'll have more from him and some of his clients tonight at 6. For now, reporting in Madison, Armand Rahman, News 3 Now.
There you go, RJ. Congratulations.
Yeah, the power of a good haircut. You can't beat it.
Yep. And you need a lot of hairspray with this humidity. It's been a bad hair week.
Yes.
Why are you looking at me, Blaze?
No reason. Yeah, you're definitely going to need the hairspray if you want to keep the hair all perfect this weekend, and maybe a fan, some water. We're back into those hot and humid conditions Saturday and Sunday. Staying quiet on Saturday, rain to end the day on Sunday. So most of Sunday will be quiet as well. Morning showers on Monday, but then we stay pretty quiet through most of the days leading up to the 4th of July. For now, for the 4th, we're looking at cloudy conditions with rain maybe moving in towards the end of the day, sticking with us overnight into that following Saturday. For folks who are trying to plan out ahead, it's still a week away. Things are going to change, and it looks like it's trending to be drier. So we'll keep our fingers crossed that it stays trending that way.
All right. Thank you, Blaze. We'll be right back. Coming up Monday on Live at 4, film critic Will Loper will let us know who won the weekend box office. And later on News 3 Now at 5, straight ahead tonight, we'll have the extent of the damage in a massive fire in Mount Vernon. That'll do it for us on Live at 4 on this Friday. Thanks for watching this week, everybody. You can catch us 24/7 streaming on Channel 3000+. News 3 Now at 5 starts right now.